Hello everyone. So let's start with the session now. So this is the inguinal reason part 2. Part 1 has already completed, and students, those who have missed out the part 1 should see the session once more. So let's discuss this. So what I'm going to discuss today in the inguinal reason second part. So three important triangular reason which is often asked as an MCQ session. One is the triangle of doom, other is the triangle of pain, and the third is the Hazelback triangle, which is also called as inguinal triangle. फिर मैं डिस्कस करूंगी डायरेक्ट एंड इनडायरेक्ट inguinal hernia, difference between both, and the important coverings, and also the clinical aspect related to the topic, the sign and symptoms, and then we will move on with the MCQ session. तो अभी तक anterior abdominal wall हो गया, rectus sheath हो गया, inguinal reason we have completed along with inguinal ligament, inguinal canal. So MCQs related to the topic. So this is what I have planned for today. Okay, so yes, before starting the session and meanwhile the students are joining, I would like to tell you about the inguinal reason second part. Myself, Dr. Mona Lisa, anatomy educator on the Unacademy platform. My code is ANAT10, which can be used by you if you want to take the subscription. So I also want to tell and give you the information regarding my free live session. So my free live session, I always come up with free live session. Like today is the inguinal reason. Those who want to attend this free live session, they have to download the Unacademy app from the Play Store if they want to see the session in their mobile. But if they want to see the session in their laptops, in their tablets and all, so what they have to do, they have to go to the website of Unacademy, and there they can directly click on the link provided, or they can download the app, and they have to use actually the code if they are using the platform for the first time. So my code is ANAT10, so you can use the code ANAT10, and then you will be able to participate in the free sessions of the Unacademy platform. So before starting the session, free sessions ke kya kya benefits hai? So if I talk about special class free session on the Unacademy platform, it's an interactive live session where you can interact with the top educators of Unacademy platform. Polls are conducted, and in this polls you can participate, you can know your weak areas, and you can know which of the subject needs to be more of revision. Raise your hand while the session is being conducted and ask your doubts. Never miss a session. So you should never miss a session. What happens if you start seeing the session, you start following the person or the educator, you will get the notification regarding all the session taken by that educator. Lecture notes, so you can download the lecture notes once the lecture is completed, and you can download the PDF anywhere, anytime, read from the top educators of Unacademy platform. Use the code ANAT10 to unlock the session. And also, what are the benefits of plus courses? So when we are talking about the plus courses, you can access both the live and recorded version of Unacademy, learn from India's top educators, compare the test and quizzes, so complete in live test and quizzes, study for the device of your choice, assess more than 25,000 MCQs, which is made by the top educators of Unacademy platform, and detailed explanation is provided. Every fourth session is a doubt clearing session, and soon you are getting with 1 year of subscription and more printed notes of Unacademy. Printed notes will be provided to you. So these are all the positive points of the plus subscriptions. Just go for it. Prepare in a systematic way. All 19 subjects. Use my code ANAT10 to get 10% discount. Also about Iconic subscription, you can get the benefits of both the Unacademy and the PrepLadder platform at one place. You can study from two platforms at a single place. All the benefits of the Plus platform of Unacademy is added on along with the benefits of PrepLadder. Clinical integrated versions, video lectures from the Dream Team of Unacademy, QBank 3 can be accessed, rapid revision snapshots and treasures and dream notes of PrepLadder will be provided to you. Use the code ANAT10 for 10% discount if you want to take the subscription. Also, I want to tell you about the limited time offer for the NEET PG Iconic subscription. So first 500 aspirants who are going to take this subscription, they are getting their subscription rates as a very low cost, like 12 month of subscription just at 38,000, and another 10% discount by using the code ANAT10. That means more than of 20 to 25% discount altogether. More than 20% discount is there. So just go and grab the opportunity. Use the code ANAT10 for 10% discount. Also, highly effective QBank, which I have already told, 25,000 MCQs made by the top educators of Unacademy platform. Video recorded version of the explanation of all MCQs will be provided to you. Use this code ANAT10 to get 10% discount. Also, I want to tell you that boost your preparation by taking 2 years of subscription and getting 4 months of subscription absolutely free. Yes, Ajay, good evening, dear. Buy 12 month of subscription, get 2 month of subscription absolutely free. Use my code NAT10 for additional 10% discount. Also, I want to tell you about the free INICT grant test and navigation flow. Actually, one grant test is happening tomorrow, that is 10 a.m. in the morning. So just go and grab the opportunity, give the INICT examination. And also, if you want to give the test, it is of 3 hours, 10 a.m. is the timing. You can enroll in this test by using the code NAT10. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., you can give the test on your laptops, desktops, or the mobile. In mobile, you have to download the Unacademy app. Also, NEET PG NEET PG Combat is back with for 60 minutes and 45 MCQs. So those who are getting a score of 1 to 3 will get plus subscription absolutely free, and till 200 rank will get the subscription scholarship. So just grab this opportunity. It is on 11 a.m. 10th October is the date. So just mark that date and participate in this NEET PG Combat. All the best. So this is the comparison of NEET PG subscription and Iconic subscription. So these are the comparison rate of both the rates. Either you can go for 4 years, 3 years, or 2 years. It totally depends on you. If you are in the first or second year, just go and grab the opportunity and go for the 4-year subscription. This is the code which can be used by you. And NAT10 is the code. Okay. Also, let's start with the discussion of 3 important triangles of MCQs, which is commonly asked. 3 important triangular reasons are commonly asked for the MCQs. And these 3 triangular reasons which I want you to know, one is the inguinal triangle. One is the inguinal triangle. Second is the triangle of doom. The third is the triangle of pain. Triangle of pain. So these 3 triangles, actually inguinal triangle is also called as Hazelback triangle. So these 3 triangular space is very important. So let's discuss one by one the detail of each. Dr. Tariq, welcome to the session, dear. So see here, this is the inguinal, so this is the green color region which you are seeing. This is the green color triangular space which is called as the inguinal triangle or Hazelback triangle. So it is important for us to know the boundaries. So here we can see here that this muscle which you are seeing is the rectus abdominis muscle. Okay, so it is bounded by rectus abdominis muscle. So it is bounded medially by the lateral border of rectus abdominis muscle, laterally by inferior epigastric vessel, and inferiorly by the medial part of inguinal ligament. So this triangular space is bounded by 3 of the important structures: inguinal ligament, which is also called as the Poppart ligament inferiorly, laterally by the inferior epigastric vessels, and medially by the lateral border rectus abdominis muscle. Okay, so now one more thing is important. What lies in the floor? That is extraperitoneal tissues, and that of fascia transversalis is located into the floor. So okay, so let's write down the boundaries of triangle of Hazelback triangle or inguinal triangle Hazelback's triangle or inguinal triangle. Okay, Hazelback's triangle or inguinal triangle. Okay, Hazelback's triangle or inguinal triangle. So what we have seen medially, it is bounded by medial border is bounded by lateral border of which muscle? Rectus abdominis muscle. Rectus abdominis muscle. Now, laterally by inferior epigastric vessel. Inferior epigastric vessel. Laterally by inferior epigastric vessels, and inferiorly by, if we talk about inferior, so inferiorly by, yes, Dr. Tariq, I will come to that point. Don't worry. We will discuss inguinal hernias in detail. Don't worry. Inferiorly by inguinal ligament. Inguinal ligament. Medial part of the inguinal ligament. So my dear, we know that inguinal ligament is also called as Poppard's ligament. Poppard's ligament. All of you must be knowing inguinal ligament is also called as Poppard's ligament. We have already done this. Inguinal ligament का दूसरा नाम क्या है? Poppard ligament. So less space is there, don't worry. So you can remember the boundary of Hazelbeck triangle by a mnemonic RIP. R for rectus abdominis, I for inferior epigastric, and P for pars ligament, groin ligament. Yes. So yes, absolutely right, dear. So this is the boundaries of inguinal triangle or the Hazelbeck triangle. Direct inguinal hernia protrude from this space. Now coming to the triangle of doom. Triangle of doom. So when we are talking about triangle of doom, the important boundaries are laterally it is bounded by gonadal vessels, as you can see, medially by ductus deferens, and inferiorly by the peritoneal, edge. So this is the boundary, and what is the importance? It is mainly containing the external iliac vessels. Okay, apex is at the level of deep inguinal ring. So triangle of doom and triangle of pain is lying close to that of inguinal triangle. These, and for inguinal hernial repair, the surgeons has defined these two triangular space. One is triangle of doom, another is triangle of pain. The significance boundaries are important. This is very important for MCQs. So previous years NEET PGK question and also we have seen that these triangular space is always included for MCQ session. So triangle of doom. The triangle of doom is an anatomical triangle. The triangle of doom is an anatomical triangle which is defined by vas deferens lying medially. The vas deferens is lying medially, spermatic vessels is lying laterally, and peritoneal fold is lying inferiorly. So all of you, so we have to cover up today MCQs also. I have included at the end of session 12 MCQs from the topic which we have covered in the abdomen. We will discuss quickly that MCQs. And here, these are also important for your examination, next examination, that you should know the boundaries of triangle of doom and pain. Triangle of doom, vas deferens medially, spermatic vessel laterally, peritoneal fold inferiorly. The triangular space contains what important structure? It is containing external iliac vessels. What it is containing? It is containing external iliac vessels, deep circumflex iliac vein. Tariq, TOD, top. Okay, we will show you the diagram. Don't worry, Tariq. I will show you the diagram also. Don't worry. Okay. So here you can see this. This is in the one plane. As you can see, triangle of pain यहाँ पे है, triangle of doom यहाँ पे है. This is medial aspect. So you can see the boundary here is. So I will show you this space in one space in one quadrangular. Actually, when you connect this to understand, deep inguinal ring is lying superiorly. So this is the pubic tubercle which is medially. So medial वाला triangle of doom है and slightly lateral उसके जाएंगे तो triangle of pain है. So Dr. Tariq, I will show you this diagram. This will make you understand. Okay. So firstly, let's complete this. Okay. I have not discussed till now the triangle of pain. So please wait. Please wait. Okay. So firstly, understand the one triangular space, that one quadrilateral space which will be showing you both the triangles. Okay. So this triangle contains external iliac vessels, deep circumflex iliac vein, genital branch of genitofemoral nerve, and also it is having the hidden by the fascia and the femoral nerve. Why it is important is lying in the laparoscopic hernial repair. Actually, it is containing important vessels. What we have seen, that triangle of doom is containing important vessels, the important large vessels, external iliac vein and arteries, deep circumflex iliac vein. So actually there can be chance if we are not knowing that area anatomy and we are directly putting surgical staples in this area, there can be chance of bleeding. So got it, Dr. Tariq and everyone? So ये area आपके लिए important इसीलिए है. Why it is important? That there can be bleeding from laparoscopic laparoscopic repair if it is done for the groin hernia, and by mistake surgical staple is put at that area, so it can get injured. Now one more is the triangle of pain. So my dear students, just see this one space. Can you see here? This is the so actually this is pubic tubercle. Okay, ये pubic tubercle है. This is the vas deferens. So what you can see here, actually, that these are the vessels. So more medially is the spermatic structures. So यहाँ पे दो triangle एक ही plane में है. Okay, this is to make you understand triangle of doom and triangle of pain. As you can see, when you connect these two triangular space, so just see here, there is one triangle. This is the triangle of pain. Okay. And just close to it medially is the triangle of doom. Medially is the triangle of doom. Okay. So actually, when you will see the triangle of pain, you can see why it is called as triangle of pain, because many nerves are lying here. Lateral femoral cutaneous nerve, anterior femoral cutaneous nerve, femoral branch of genitofemoral nerve, and femoral nerve. Dr. Tariq, is it okay? So many of femoral nerves and many important nerves, only important nerves are residing here. And in this case, the structure which is residing is the external iliac vessels. So this is the medial side, and here you can see the important structure like vas deferens is lying medially. Laterally, more of the nerves is lying. Yes, Tariq. Yes, Dr. Tariq. So please see triangle of pain. The triangle of pain is actually a term which is used by the surgeons, laparoscopic hernia repair surgeons, who have observed the anatomy in the inguinofemoral region. So this area is referring to the area. Why it is important to know? Because damage of nerves, actually we are knowing that this area is having many important nerves located. So of the femoral triangle, as told by Dr. Tariq also, so we have got many of the important nerves which is residing there. So if by mistake, without knowing the anatomy, surgical staples are placed there during the anchoring of mesh which is required for the repair of hernia, that is herniorrhaphy, it will become a very painful condition for the patient. So this area should be avoided, and care should be taken not to injure any of the nerve in this area. So triangle of pain is a V-shaped area. Apex is again lying at the deep inguinal ring. So see here, both triangle of doom and the triangle of pain, apex is towards the deep inguinal ring. Okay. More medially is triangle of doom and laterally is the triangle of pain. See here. So apex is lying at the deep inguinal ring, but it is bounded anteriorly by iliopubic tract, ilioinguinal ligament and spermatic vessels posteromedially. More medially and posterior aspect agar aap jaoge to spermatic vessels. The reason why this area should be avoided and not of many staples or surgical staples will be anchoring in this space, because several nerves can be injured in this region during endo-abdominopelvic fascia. Okay. So this is the reason, this is the importance of the triangle of pain reason. Now, the nerves which is residing here, all of you, please note down the important nerves which is residing in this area. Genital branch of genitofemoral nerve. So structures which is residing here is genital branch of genitofemoral nerve, which is arising from ventral rami of L1 and L2. Yes, no, posterior aspect. See here, it is bounded anteriorly by iliopubic tract, inguinal ligament, and by spermatic vessels. Vessels, dear. Posteromedially. See this diagram. So this whole space is triangle of pain. Okay, and this is the medial aspect. So यहाँ पे ये junction है ना, this is spermatic vessels. So अगर हम triangle of doom की बात करेंगे तो spermatic vessels laterally है, लेकिन triangle of pain में posteromedially है. See here, triangle of doom में spermatic vessel laterally है. Got it, Dr. Tariq? Spermatic vessel laterally है, and triangle of pain में it is medially. Posteromedially. Actually, this is the junction. Got it, Tariq? This is the junction which is lying at this is triangle of pain and this is triangle of doom. So this vessel which I am talking about is lying on the junction. Okay. So for triangle of doom, it is laterally. For triangle of pain, it is medially. To be more specific, posteromedially. Got it, Dr. Tariq? Yes. So the nerves residing is genitofemoral nerve, genitofemoral nerve. Genitofemoral nerve, genital branch will pass and enters the inguinal canal and give innervation to that of the scrotum and cremaster muscle in females, the labia majora and mons pubis. Now, femoral branch, when I am talking about femoral branch of genitofemoral nerve, it enters into triangle of pain in the region and passes inferior to inguinal ligament. It is giving cutaneous innervation to superior aspect of the thigh. So both genital and the femoral nerve branches has been discussed here. What is the fate? Genital branch is going towards the scrotum cremaster muscle, and femoral branch is going towards the superior aspect of thigh. So the first nerve which is residing is genitofemoral nerve. Now, the other nerve which is residing is lateral femoral cutaneous nerve. Lateral femoral cutaneous nerve. Lateral femoral cutaneous nerve is formed by ventral rami of L2 and L3 and provide innervation to anterior aspect of the thigh. Femoral nerve, what is the root value? It is formed by the ventral rami of L2, L3 and L4. Femoral nerve is formed by the ventral rami of L2, L3 and L4 and provide motor and sensory innervation to anterior compartment of thigh, as well as sensory. It also gives sensory branches to hip joint. Other than that, it is also giving sensory branches to hip joint. Okay, sensory branches to hip joint. Now, so done with this. Now coming to today's topic, that is inguinal hernia. So inguinal hernia is the abnormal protrusion of the contents of the abdomen, which is in the intestinal loop and all, which is protruding through area of weakness. Okay, actually we have got two hernias which is important for us to remember. One is indirect inguinal hernia. One is indirect inguinal hernia, which we have to study, and the other is direct inguinal hernia. Now, when we are talking about direct inguinal hernia, it is passing through which space? It is passing through Hazelback triangle. It is passing through Hazelback triangle or inguinal triangle. Now, protrusion of the abnormal visceral abdominal content through the weakness area, through the weakened area. Indirect inguinal hernia, here the herniation is occurring through deep inguinal ring. Here the herniation is occurring through deep inguinal ring. So one is the direct and other is the indirect inguinal hernia. One is the direct and the other is indirect inguinal hernia. Now again, direct inguinal hernia can be divided into two parts. So we have just seen the direct inguinal hernia. As we have discussed, the direct inguinal hernia is the abnormal protrusion of the abdominal content occurring through the Hazelback triangle. It can be again, either it can pass through the Hazelback triangle on medial part or it can pass through the lateral part. So this is again divided. Direct inguinal hernia is divided into medial direct inguinal hernia or lateral direct inguinal hernia. Lateral direct inguinal hernia. Now, actually, the difference lies in the covering. Okay, so actually, the difference. What is the importance of these direct and indirect? Because of the covering. So it is important to know the hernial sac covering, and it is important to know the difference between hernial sac covering. So for that, it is important to know both of this herniation. So yes. So I would also like to give you the difference of the covering. I will come to that point. Before that, see this diagram. So here what you can see, if we are talking, can you see the green color outlined area which I have shown is the herniation which is taking place through the triangle of weakness. This is the space. What is the space here which I have highlighted? This space is the, okay, this triangular space is the inguinal triangle. It is the inguinal triangle or Hazelback triangle. So direct inguinal hernia protrusion will be medial. Yes. So can you see here inferior epigastric vessels? So that means direct inguinal hernia protrusion will be from the inguinal triangle or Hazelback triangle. So that protruding loop of intestinal loop which is protruding will be protruding medial to inferior epigastric vessel. It is protruding medial to epigastric vessels. Now see here the site of indirect inguinal hernia. So when we are talking about the site of indirect inguinal hernia, you can see it is passing through this opening, and this opening is called as deep inguinal ring. So what is the location of deep inguinal ring? The deep inguinal ring is an opening in the fascia transversalis, and the location of indirect inguinal hernia is lateral to inferior epigastric vessel. It is lateral to inferior epigastric vessels, and lower down you can see the site of femoral herniation. So femoral herniation we have already discussed when we were discussing the lower limb session. Femoral herniation is seen in cases more common to the females because of wider pelvis and less caliber of the vessels. Okay, so here one important point which is important as a differentiating point, you can say direct inguinal hernia is passing, direct inguinal herniation occurs medial to inferior epigastric vessel. This was asked just now in the NEET PG. अभी just जो NEET PG का एग्जाम हुआ है उसमें ये क्वेश्चन पूछा गया है. Okay, so this is direct inguinal hernia passes medial to inferior epigastric vessel. And indirect occurs, if we talk about indirect inguinal hernia, if we talk about indirect inguinal hernia, the herniation is occurring lateral to inferior epigastric vessel, lateral to inferior epigastric vessels. So got it the difference? This is very important for you to know that direct inguinal hernia from Hazelbeck triangle medial to inferior epigastric vessel, and indirect is passing lateral to inferior epigastric vessel. This beautiful diagram is explaining you the facts. Now, one more thing is important. As I told you, the direct one will be of two types. So please write down the heading: coverings of indirect and that of direct inguinal hernia. So it is important that you should know what is the difference between the coverings of direct and indirect inguinal hernia. So if we talk about the coverings, so write down the coverings of indirect and that of direct. So this side is the direct and this side is the indirect. So indirect की बात करें तो it is covered by extra peritoneal tissues firstly. So from inside to out, external peritoneal tissues, extra peritoneal tissues. The second layer will be internal spermatic fascia. The third point will be cremasteric fascia. The fourth point will be external spermatic fascia. I will show you the diagram also of it. Don't worry, external spermatic fascia, and then will be the outermost covering, that is the skin. This is the covering for indirect one. This was the covering for indirect one. Now the covering for the direct one. Okay, so the covering for direct one is following. Again, the first point is similar, extra peritoneal tissues. Then the second will be fascia. We know that inguinal triangle में जो floor है वो extra peritoneal tissue और fascia transversalis से form है. So the next layer will be fascia transversalis. Fascia transversalis. This is also important. Write down. Now the third layer will be conjoint tendon. But when we are talking about conjoint tendon, it will be in the case of medial part of medial direct inguinal hernia. Okay. And the fourth will be internal oblique, means cremaster only, dear. Okay, so conjoint tendon will be medially, and when we are talking about cremaster fascia and muscle के fibers, that will be in the lateral part of direct inguinal hernia. So दो तरह का direct inguinal hernia होता है. One is the medial में conjoint tendon होगा और lateral में cremaster muscle और fascia होगा. Then we will have the external spermatic fascia. And the sixth one is the skin. So there is difference between the direct. So medial side, we will have the conjoint tendon, and laterally will be the cremaster muscle and fascia. Okay, yes, internal oblique के fibers से ही cremaster muscle and fascia is formed. Okay, Dr. Tariq. So write down the difference between the covering of direct and indirect inguinal hernia, which is written here. All of you write down the difference between direct and indirect inguinal hernia coverings. Got it, everyone? Let's move on to the next. So same thing I want to show you. Can I zoom it? This diagram, dear. So see here. Firstly, see here what I have shown you here is the firstly we will see the covering of indirect inguinal hernia. Indirect. This is the indirect inguinal hernia. So in case of indirect inguinal hernia, the first thing here will be the extraperitoneal tissue, which is, so here there is the parietal peritoneum, which will be resting on the extraperitoneal tissues there. Then we will have internal spermatic fascia. Can you see here? So parietal peritoneum over extraperitoneal tissue, internal spermatic fascia, cremaster fascia, and external spermatic fascia. So we can clearly see the layers. Is it okay? Entry of the herniated loop with the coverings. So coverings, first thing is that indirect inguinal hernia is the protrusion which is lying lateral to inferior epigastric vessel. Is it okay? Lateral to inferior epigastric vessel, and these are the coverings: parietal peritoneum, internal spermatic fascia, cremaster muscle, and external spermatic fascia. Now see the layers in case of direct. As I told you, direct inguinal hernia can be of lateral or can be of medial part. Okay, it can also be two types, lateral and medial. So when I am talking about the lateral direct hernia, the herniation layer will be extraperitoneal tissue, parietal peritoneum, fascia transversalis, then cremaster muscle. Here is the cremaster muscle and external spermatic fascia. But when we are talking about medial one, so here will be conjoined. In place of cremaster muscle and fascia, there will be conjoined tendon. This is the difference. Okay, medial में क्या होगा? Conjoined tendon होगा, lateral में cremaster muscle और fascia होगा. So everyone, Dr. Tariq, Dr. Salona, everyone, have you understood the difference between the two protrusion of direct and indirect herniation? Also, there is difference in medial and lateral one. Got it? This diagram is clearing the facts, and also we have already seen. So this is showing you the coverings of inguinal hernia, covering of inguinal hernia in case of indirect and direct. Okay, let's move on to the next. Now, I have written all the details because it is important that at times, jab aapko MCQs will come or your clinical questions will be coming, they will include sign and symptoms also. So I have included all these information which will help you to solve this MCQs easily. So indirect inguinal hernia, Shack has got a narrow neck formed by internal orifice of inguinal canal. Even though this orifice tend to close after the birth, but in certain places, in certain conditions of the person, the closure of this deep inguinal orifice is not happening, and in case of increased pressure of abdominal cavity like coughing, straining, and sneezing, the contents of abdomen can protrude out through this narrow space. What is this narrow space? The narrow space is formed by the orifice of inguinal canal. The patient feel a bulge over the groin region. Actually, at times it becomes very much prominent when you tell the patient to cough and you tell him or her to sneeze. That bulging will be more prominent. Okay, that bulging will be more prominent. The patient will feel a bulge over the groin region which become prominent during standing and coughing. Okay, direct inguinal hernia, I am coming to the difference. Don't worry, Dr. Tariq. Direct inguinal hernia में क्या होता है? Protrusion is occurring through weakened area, through weakness of the wall, inguinal triangle. So they have a large orifice. Okay, the type of hernia occurs with the weakness of abdominal muscle and musculatures. So actually, direct inguinal hernia is more common in the person who has got weight lifting or long lasting coughing. In case of abdominal wall weakness, this because the herniation is occurring through inguinal triangle. So that is the area. It is having wider. So wider direct inguinal hernia में वो wide area होता है, big. Okay, protrusion is having a big slightly bigger area. Indirect में they have to protrude through deep inguinal ring. Okay, narrow space. Indirect inguinal hernia, please note down. So this will give you exactly, this is narrow neck. So see here, Dr. Tariq, as I told you, indirect inguinal hernia, there is a space that is, or a gap that is called as deep inguinal ring through which the content has to herniate. So that space is less. So at certain times of coughing, sneezing, immediately you will see certain protrusion happens. Okay, so only when you go to OPD, this kind of person goes to OPD and all examination, the person will tell, the clinician will tell the person to cough, sneeze, so that the protrusion is seen and the structural content of inguinal, the content of inguinal herniation will be seen more protruded. Direct inguinal hernia, the condition is due to weakness of abdominal wall, and the weakness is through the inguinal canal through its weakness of the wall. Okay, so age group, now let me tell you the difference. Okay, let me tell you the difference. Age group, indirect inguinal hernia below 40 years of age, direct above 40 years of the age generally. Okay, presentation, enlargement of the scrotum, and direct is a bulging in the groin region. Okay, Dr. Tariq, this is the important difference which is has to be noted. Dr. Tariq, presentation. Okay, if you want to see the presentation, what you will see, there is a enlargement of the scrotal region, scrotum, and that also becomes more prominent during the cuffing in case of indirect inguinal hernia. When we are talking about direct one, it is like a small, it is like a bulging which is seen, soft bulging is seen in the groin region. Soft bulging because the space is there for the protrusion, but in case of indirect one, the small space hai jahan se protrusion hona hai, and direct inguinal hernia, there is weakness of abdominal wall muscle. Now, indirect inguinal hernia leads to bowel entrapment, loss of blood supply, and can lead to rupture. Direct one, the above complication is less, but in case of direct herniation, the above complication is less. Surgical repair. Indirect inguinal hernia repair needs to closure of inguinal ring as an essential step. Wahan pe most important step of repair will be repairing of the opening through which the inguinal herniation content has protruded out. So kahan se herniating loop has been protruded out? Deep inguinal ring in the fascia transversalis. So it is very important for the repair of indirect inguinal hernia that the closure of that opening has been done. Closure of inguinal ring opening is an essential step for the treatment. When we are talking about direct inguinal hernia, here the repair needs strengthening of abdominal wall musculature by using a mesh, polypropylene mesh. Means we want to make the abdominal wall musculature strong, so a mesh is placed over the area. Got it? Today I will come up with MCQs also. We will discuss quickly some of the MCQs also. Recurrence. What is the recurrence? The last important difference which I want to tell you is the recurrence. Indirect inguinal hernia has less recurrence after surgical repair has been done. But as we are seeing, the direct inguinal hernia is occurring due to abdominal wall musculature weakness, and it is important that the strength of the abdominal wall muscles should be enhanced so that less recurrence occurs. So that means recurrence rate of indirect one is less and the recurrence rate of direct inguinal hernia is more. So that is the important difference which I have targeted. Okay, so we will come up with the MCQ session. So is it okay, everyone? Can we move on with the MCQ session now? 12 MCQs. So I just want to, everything is written and I have explained with the many of the diagrams. So we have done with the inguinal triangle. We have done with that of the triangle of doom, triangle of pain, and also we have done with the inguinal hernia, direct and indirect, with all differentiation and the location in respect to inferior epigastric vessels covering. So next important thing which I want to discuss with everyone is starting with the MCQs, and also in the previous session we have covered anterior abdominal wall and inguinal canal and ring inguinal ligament. तो पहले हमने inguinal ligament किया था, inguinal canal किया था, उससे पहले हमने abdominal wall किया था. So and today inguinal herniation. So let's discuss the important MCQs related to the topic. So together we have got 12 MCQs. You will get 30 seconds to solve each of the MCQs. So let's start. I will give you 30 seconds now. So yes. The question number 1, all of you participate in the poll. Anterolateral abdominal wall is bounded by all except. So all of you will give the answer in the poll and then I will see the process. Okay, I will mark the answer first in the poll. So anterolateral abdominal wall is bounded by all of the following except. Option A, cartilages of 7th and 10th ribs, linea alba, xiphoid process, inguinal ligament, and pelvic wall. So according to you, which is the correct answer? Your time begins now. Okay. Okay. Okay, mixed answers are coming up. Okay, so the correct answer is linea alba. My dear, anterolateral abdominal wall hai. Okay, antero, anterior, and lateral. So linea alba is the interlacing of the muscle in the midline. So if we want to take the wall, we will not take linea alba into consideration. Cartilages will be taken, xiphoid process, inguinal ligament, and pelvic bone will be taken. Okay, all these MCQs which I am discussing, I am providing the written part and the key to it, don't worry. So linea alba is the reason where all the muscles are interlacing from the midline. So anterolateral abdominal wall, if we talk about, it is made of 7th to 10th ribs, xiphoid process superiorly. So rib cage superiorly and xiphoid process inferiorly, inguinal ligament and pelvic wall. In inferiorly kya hai? Inguinal ligament and pelvic wall. So linea alba is the correct answer, which is not taking part or contributing to the formation of anterolateral abdominal wall. Okay, everyone. So let's move on to the second MCQ. So we have done with this. This is the correct answer. B is the correct answer. So also explanation is written. So I don't think so any problem is there for the revision. So let's move on to the second MCQ. Aponeurosis of all three flat muscles of anteroabdominal wall interlaces in. Aponeurosis, question number second. Aponeurosis of all three flat muscles of anterior lateral abdominal wall interlaces where? Where does these muscles interlaces? Aponeurosis interlaces. So easy one. 5 options are there and mark the correct answer. Okay, so the correct answer is linea alba. All the muscles, as I told you also, anterolateral abdominal wall ke muscle is interlacing in the midline to form linea alba. So the correct answer is C. So aponeurosis of all the three muscles, all the three muscles, that is the external oblique, internal oblique, transverse abdominis muscle, will meet with the fellow opposite side aponeurotic muscles and they'll form in the linea alba. So upon tendinous sheath of rectus sheath, they will meet from one side to other side, and this midline structure is called as linea alba. So we have to choose one. So the correct answer will be linea alba. Many of you have given the right answer. Let's move on to the next one. Where is the extraperitoneal fat located? In which layer is the extraperitoneal fat located? In which layer is the extraperitoneal fat located? Between the abdominal oblique muscle. So I will decrease the timing to 15 seconds, I think. Okay. Is it okay? 15 seconds मैं reduce करूँगी. Deep to parietal peritoneum, superficial to campus fascia, deep to transversalis fascia, superficial to deep fascia. What is the location of extraperitoneal tissue? I will reduce the time to 15 seconds. Mark the correct answer. So if you remember, YouTube में मैंने जब session लिया था, the first session of anterior abdominal wall, I have told you all the muscle layer from external to internal aspects. So yes, we have got few of you have given the right answer, and the correct answer is deep to transversalis fascia. Actually, if we start from outside to inside, the layers are skin, superficial fascia of the campus and scarpa, then external oblique, then internal oblique muscle, then the transverse abdominis, then fascia transversalis, and then extraperitoneal fat, and then the parietal peritoneum. Got it? These were the 8 layers in the successive lines. So yes, parietal peritoneum is lying internal to transversalis fascia, and the separation of parietal peritoneum and transversalis fascia is occurring by the collection of the fat, and that is called as extraperitoneal fat. This collection of fat is called as extraperitoneal fat. Campus fascia and the deep fascia are all superficial to extraperitoneal fat. Now moving to question number 4. Okay, superficial muscle fibers of external oblique muscle arising from midline to lower ribs interdigitate with which of the following? So external oblique muscle fibers are interdigitating with which of the following muscle? So your time starts now. So if you remember external oblique muscle origin insertion, I have shown you that these fibers were interdigitating with the fibers of which muscle? Yes, the correct answer is serratus anterior muscle. If you remember, I have told you external oblique muscle is interdigitating with serratus anterior muscle and also with latissimus dorsi muscle. So serratus anterior is the correct answer. Superficial fibers of external oblique aponeurosis muscle arising from middle lower ribs interdigitate with that of serratus anterior muscle. Which muscle? Serratus anterior muscle. It is interdigitating. Yes. Now let's move on to the next. That is question number 5. Between internal oblique and transverse abdominis vessel lies a neurovascular plane which is containing all except. So don't worry if it is wrong also, you are knowing this fact. So don't worry about right and wrong. It's important that the revision is going on. So revise all these important points, which is very important. So all of the following structures lies in this plane between transverse abdominis and internal oblique, except which of the following structure is not included exactly in the plane of internal oblique and transverse abdominis. Okay. Iliohypogastric grip, circumflex iliac, inferior epigastric, subcostal, and that of ilioinguinal nerve. Your time begins now. 5 options are there. Mark the correct answer. Okay, so yes. So here actually it is not containing the inferior epigastric. The correct answer is C. Inferior epigastric and superior epigastric is lying in the rectus sheath. It is lying in the rectus sheath. They are not exactly laterally in a plane between internal oblique and transverse abdominis. Yes, but when you will see this MCQ, you feel that yes, inferior epigastric vessels तो traverse करता है, anastomose करता है superior epigastric vessel से. But exact location is rectus sheath, not exactly. It is traversing in whole course between internal oblique and transverse abdominis. So C is the correct answer. Now, neurovascular plane or the structures of anterior abdominal wall contained is the structures are the T7 to T11 cutaneous branches, ventral ramus of T12, iliohypogastric, ilioinguinal nerves, lumbar artery, and deep circumflex iliac artery. Deep circumflex iliac artery. So please note down all these structures which is mentioned here are included in a plane traveling between internal oblique and transverse abdominis muscle. Let's move on to question number 6. Okay. Rectus abdominis muscle is anchored by the attachment to anterior layer of rectus sheath by which of the following? Rectus abdominis muscle is anchored by attachment to anterior aspect of rectus sheath. So wo anchorage is formed by, that connection is formed by which of the following structure? So just very simple, go towards the, take your time. This is very conceptual, easy. Just apply common sense and you will get the correct answer. Your time starts now. Okay, so yes, we have got 50% students has been tendinous intersection, my dear. If you remember, when I was talking about rectus abdominis muscle, I told you that rectus abdominis muscle is an example of strap muscle. It's an example of morphologically is an example of strap muscle, which is having tendinous intersection. So it is having intersection. Which type of intersection? It is having tendinous intersection. Okay, it is having tendinous intersection. So this is the tendinous intersection is giving the anchorage. So rectus abdominis muscle is anchored by the attachment to the anterior aspect of the rectus sheath, and this anchorage is provided by the tendinous intersection. Okay, now coming to the most, the same thing which has been written here, rectus abdominis muscle anchorage transversely by the anterior layer of rectus sheath with 3 or more tendinous intersection. Actually, this tendinous intersection will be more prominent once you go for your dissection of the rectus abdominis muscle. It is more prominent in case of thin body, not the bulky body, and it is also called as six-app muscle. Okay, now let's move on to the next one, that is question number 7. Which structure defines the point at which, so you have to tell me that that anatomical landmark which is defining the point at which posterior lamina of internal oblique muscle, also the posterior lamina of internal oblique and that of the aponeurosis of transverse abdominis muscle becomes the part of anterior rectus sheath. So which of the following line is defining it? Whether it is inguinal ligament, arcuate line, tendinous intersection, deep inguinal ring, or medial crux. So question number 7, mark the correct answer. Okay. Okay. So yes, arcuate line is the correct answer. If you remember, when I was explaining the rectus sheath posteriorly, I told you at the level which is lying the midpoint of the umbilicus and that of pubic symphysis and the lower aspect, when you will see the posterior aspect of the rectus sheath, it is deficient, and the posterior aspect or posterior wall of rectus sheath is directly resting over fascia transversalis. So why I have not included the diagrams and all? Because it was in a continuation: anterior abdominal wall, inguinal region, rectus sheath, and inguinal hernia. We have just concluded these topics, so maybe few of you have missed that topic because one of the topic I have taken in YouTube and the other topic in the special class. So you have to revise that. So that posterior layer where the deficiency lies on the rectus sheath is called as arcuate line. It is like this. When you will see the abdominal wall from posterior aspect, this is having a concavity lying below, and this is exactly the point where the aponeurosis of the internal oblique and transverse abdominis muscle becomes the part of anterior aspect of the rectus sheath. So A is the correct answer. So here, if we talk about the inferior aspect of inferior limit of posterior lamina of rectus sheath, it is just marked by an arcuate line, and it is the point where the posterior lamina of anterior internal oblique and transverse abdominis actually is going and continuing with the anterior rectus sheath. So whole definition has been given. So those who have missed the session, do watch the session of, so inguinal region part 1 link is provided in the group, and also there is the first anterior abdominal wall session on the Let's Crack NEET PG session में anterior abdominal wall करके मेरा session होगा. So those who have missed out, do revise it. So let's move on to the question number 8. Two medial umbilical folds. So this also I have taken in that session. So we have got one medial, two medial, and two lateral folds. So you just tell me two medial umbilical fold represent the remnants of which of the following structure is forming the remnant? Urachus, umbilical artery, umbilical vein, ductus venosus, and ductus arteriosus. According to you, which is the correct answer? Question number 8. Okay, so yes, few of the students has marked it correct, and the correct answer is umbilical arteries. Yes, we know that median, when we are talking about median umbilical fold, जब हम medial umbilical fold की बात करेंगे तो it is containing urachus, which is a fold which is connecting apex of urinary bladder to umbilicus. Apex of urinary bladder to umbilicus. When we are talking about medial umbilical fold, मीडियल अम्बिलिकल फोल्ड की बात करें, जब मीडियल अम्बिलिकल फोल्ड की बात करें, so it is containing umbilical arteries. It is containing umbilical arteries. Okay, and when we are talking about lateral umbilical fold, when we are talking about lateral umbilical fold, it is containing the lateral umbilical fold is containing inferior epigastric vessels. Inferior epigastric vessels. Okay, so median is containing the remnant of urachus, medial is containing fetal umbilical arteries, and the lateral one is containing the inferior epigastric vessels. Lateral one is containing the inferior epigastric vessels. So got it, everyone? So A, B is the correct answer. Let's move on to question number 9. Which of the following fossa is potential site for direct inguinal hernia? Which of the following fossa? Actually, two depressed areas are there. So, which of the following fossa are actually potential site for the direct inguinal hernia? Supravesical, istiorectal, iliac, medial inguinal, or lateral inguinal fossa, depressed area. So, just common sense, we know that direct inguinal hernia is lying on which region. So, that will help you to understand which would be the right answer. Your time begins now. Okay, so yes, we have got a few students has given the right answer. The correct answer is medial inguinal region, or the fossa region is the area of potential weakness through which the direct inguinal herniation occurs. Okay, so see here, there is two types of fossa. I have written that one is the lateral fossa and one is the medial inguinal fossa. So actually medial inguinal fossa is the space which is lying between medial and lateral umbilical fold. Okay, all of you please note down this. If I have not given the details in the previous session, so you can write it from here. Medial inguinal fossa is the space lying between medial and lateral umbilical fold, and this is exactly inguinal triangle, and this is the area of common herniation and weakness in case of direct inguinal hernia. Medial inguinal fossa, exactly, it lies in an area, it is a triangular space which is lying between two folds, lateral umbilical fold and medial umbilical fold, and this is exactly the region of inguinal triangle or Hazelback triangle, and the protrusion or the weakness of this area forms a protrusion of inguinal herniation occurring through this area, which is called as direct inguinal hernia. When we are talking about the lateral inguinal fossa, the location of lateral inguinal fossa is just lateral to umbilical fold. So lateral umbilical fold is containing which structure? Inferior epigastric vessel. Inferior epigastric vessel. So this level of inferior epigastric vessel, lateral part, is a common site for inguinal indirect inguinal hernia. Here the area of weakness is the direct inguinal. It's the area of weakness is the deep inguinal ring. So exactly, actually, you can take the landmark inferior epigastric vessel. So medial inguinal fossa is lying medial. You can write it is lying medial to inferior epigastric vessels, and the lateral inguinal fossa is lying lateral to inferior epigastric vessels. So is it clear to everyone? This landmark you have to remember. Medial inguinal fossa is medial to inferior epigastric vessel, and lateral inguinal fossa is lateral to inferior epigastric vessel. So we have got B as the correct answer for question number 9. Clear? Let's move on to 3 more MCQs. Question number 10. Okay, just a minute. Yeah. Inguinal canal contains which of the following nerve? Inguinal canal is containing which of the following nerve? Iliohypogastric, ilioinguinal, genital branch of genitofemoral, obturator, lateral femoral cutaneous nerve. 5 options are there. Mark the correct answer. Question number 10. Okay, so yes. So here what happens, the correct answer is ilioinguinal nerve. This we have directly seen when we were discussing the inguinal canal. Inguinal canal is extending from deep inguinal ring to superficial inguinal ring. Structure passing is, in case of male, spermatic cord, in case of female, round ligament of uterus, and along with it, ilioinguinal nerve is also traversing through it. So see here, inguinal canal contains spermatic cord in males and round ligament in case of females. Other than that, it also contains blood vessels, lymphatic and nerves. Which nerve? Ilioinguinal nerve. Ilioinguinal nerve. So this is the reason ilioinguinal nerve is the correct answer. Let's move on to the next. That is question number 11th. Which structure give rise to deep inguinal ring? Whether it is gubernaculum, whether it is conjoint tender, whether it is lacunar ligament, whether it is external abdominal oblique aponeurosis, whether it is fascia transversalis. So 5 options are there, and you just tell me which structure give rise to deep inguinal ring. Deep inguinal ring. Which structure give rise to deep inguinal ring? So yes, we know that 2 important opening slides. So actually the correct answer is fascia transversalis. So we know that 2 important openings is there. One is deep inguinal ring, which is the opening lying in fascia transversalis, and other is a triangular opening, which is called as superficial inguinal ring, which is an opening in external oblique aponeurosis. Okay, so that this is actually deep inguinal ring is an oval opening, which is an aberrant opening in case of fascia transversalis. And when we talk about the opening in case of superficial inguinal ring, it's a triangular opening having medial and lateral cruras, which is connected by intercrural fibers, and this is an opening located in the external oblique aponeurosis. So let's see this. So clearly we have seen deep inguinal ring. It is an entrance point of inguinal canal, and it is the site of an outpouching of transversalis fascia, and which is exactly lying 1.25 centimeters superior and in just to the middle of inguinal ligament. Lacunar ligament is reflection or extension from deeper aspect of which of the following ligament? Question number 12. Lacunar ligament is reflection of deeper aspect of which of the following ligament? Falciform ligament, round ligament, rectus sheath, inguinal ligament, transversalis fascia. So this also we have covered up all the extensions from the ligament. So it is related to important topic. Write down the correct answer, question number 12. Okay, so yes, many of you have given the right answer, and the correct answer is inguinal ligament. Yes, absolutely. Actually, lacuna. Can anybody tell me what is the other name of lacunar ligament? What is the other name of a lacunar ligament? Lacunar ligament is also called as Gimbernet ligament. Absolutely right. Gimbernet's ligament. Yes, absolutely right. Okay, Cooper's ligament is also called as pectineal ligament. Pectineal ligament. Cooper's ligament is also called as pectineal ligament, and we have got ilioinguinal and we have got reflected part of inguinal ligament. So these are the 4 extensions from the inguinal ligament. So inguinal ligament itself is formed by external oblique muscle fibers, and it's one of the extension is lacunar ligament, which is triangular in shape and attached to the pecten pubis, deeper aspect. It arises from the deeper aspect of the inguinal ligament. See here, inguinal ligament is reinforced in its most medial part. It is having a deeper extensions, which is called as lacunar ligament. The reflected part from the deep aspect of inguinal ligament goes to pectineal line of pecten pubis. So we have already discussed much more detail. We have seen the diagram and we have seen all the extensions from the inguinal ligament. Okay. So my dear aspirants, before ending the session, I would like to tell you the whole details. So actually, if you want to see the free sessions on the Unacademy platform and you want to participate in the free sessions, what you have to do, you have to download the Unacademy app. Then you have to search for NEET PG as your goal, and then you can take part in the free session. And AT10 is my code by which you can join the free session. And actually, I will tell you the details. So I'm planning with the MCQ sessions for the FMG, INICT exam and NEET PG examination 2022, and also few topics which will be helpful for the next. So I will segregate the session, few sessions on the YouTube session live and few sessions I will take on the special free platform. Other than that, those students who want to target for their plus course, they want to study in a very systematic way all 19 subjects with targeting their goal and their examination, they can take the subscription of Unacademy. So for that, I just want to give you the information. The subscription of Unacademy is coming up with a discounted rate. For the first 500 aspirants who are going to take the subscription, they will get a discounted rate of subscription at a discount rate of approximately 20%. You can use my code and add 10 for additional 10% discount. So can you see here, 12-month subscription is 45,000, which is now 38,000 only, and another 10% discount you can avail by using my code. So this is an opportunity which can be grabbed by you if you want to take the subscription. So this is NEET PG Iconic subscription. Just grab the opportunity, use my code for getting 10% discount. Okay. So yes, I would also like to tell you about one more important point which I want to tell is about the sessions, which is so free sessions. I will tell you about the free sessions also, but I want to tell you about the two tests which is happening, which is absolutely free. Okay, so one of this test which is absolutely free is the grand test for free INICT grand test. So those who are interested for this grand test, so we have got 200 MCQ session taking place 26. Tomorrow is Sunday and tomorrow is 26. So those who are interested, grab this opportunity. This is absolutely free on the platform of Unacademy. So actually what is important for, let me slightly zoom this. What is important that if you are want to give this test on a mobile app, you have to download the app of Unacademy, then go for self-study test series upcoming session, and there you will get tomorrow 26 September 10 a.m. is the timing. And actually the session is of 3 hours, 200 MCQs based on the pattern of INICT, targeting for the session of 2021. So you can participate in this test. Another is, if you want to give the test on your laptops, on your desktop or iPad, open the website test series upcoming session, and then 26th September, tomorrow is the session. So what you can do, you can enroll in this session by using my code ANAT10, and you can take part in this session. Another important point which I want to discuss with you is that NEET PG compact test is coming. So NEET PG compact test is a scholarship of a pool of 1 crore rupees. So this is happening on 10th October 11 a.m. So students and aspirants, do participate in the NEET PG compact. Okay, 60-minute time test, 45 MCQs are there, and the first 1 to 3 rank will get 1 year of NEET PG subscription absolutely free. 4 to 10th rank will get 75% of the scholarship free, 50% scholarship free for the 11 to 50 rank students, and 51 to 200 for the next 25% student scholarship. So actually you can use this code ANAT10 to participate. You can use this code ANAT10 to be participating in NEET PG compact. Do participate and avail the opportunity of getting the scholarship. All the best. Keep studying. Thank you so much. So upcoming session and the timing of my YouTube. Tomorrow I am taking, so those students who are there still. So tomorrow I am taking 2 sessions on the YouTube. Okay, that is targeting INICT, that is live at 2 and at 5 p.m. on the YouTube session. So 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. do join live for the targeting the MCQs. One is the clinical MCQs, another is the general anatomy MCQs. Okay, general anatomy and clinical MCQs. All the best. Keep studying. Thank you so much. Thank you, students. Thank you.